Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer Brown, Family Consumer Science Agent with the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, and we're going to talk about carbohydrates, good versus bad. Carbohydrates turn to glucose, otherwise known as sugar, in the blood. They've been getting a bad rap, but carbohydrates are the main energy source for our bodies, so they are very important and you need them. What do you think are some sources of carbohydrates? Well, there's two different types. There's simple and complex carbohydrates. The simple ones are the sugar, the different types, syrup, jams and jellies, honey, soda and sugary drinks, pies, candies, cookies, etc. And then there are the more complex ones: bread, tortillas, crackers, cereals, pasta, rice, beans, potatoes, peas, and corns. And we're going to talk about what the difference between those are. But first, how much are you supposed to have? Well, we want you to eat less but more often. So it is recommended to eat 3 balanced meals and 1 to 3 snacks per day. We want you to be consistent. Eat a consistent amount at consistent times throughout the day. And always remember to be colorful and eat a rainbow. Eat a variety of different vegetables and fruits. And no matter what, we recommend you avoid skipping meals to prevent overeating later, as well as to prevent your metabolism from slowing down. So the basics of carbohydrates, as I mentioned, they are your body's main energy source. They are 4 calories per gram. That should be about half of your daily intake of calories should come from carbs because they are your main energy source and you need them to feel better and to have more energy. They're also very important because they reduce the risk of heart disease and cancer due to folic acid, antioxidants, and minerals in your good carbohydrates. So I have a slide here of different carbohydrates. And you'd be surprised that most of the ones on this slide are carbohydrates. And we're going to talk about them and what choices you need to make when you're looking at counting carbs. Because if you are counting carbs, there are 2 ways to do that. You can count servings. You can count your carb choices because 1 carb choice equals 15 grams of carbs. 1 starch equals 1 fruit equals 1 milk. So they're all equal there. When you're looking at your grams, you can add up the total grams of carbohydrates for all the foods by reading the nutrition labels of the packaging. For example, 1 cup of milk and 1 small apple, both of them equal 15 grams for a total of 30 grams. How many carbs do you think that you need? Well, the amount of carbs needed will depend on your gender, your age, your height, your weight, and your activity level. A registered dietitian can help you in determining your carb needs, and a lot of your insurance companies will allow you free consultation with a registered dietitian to set up a meal plan just for you. But looking at this, carbs per meal, we break them down into number of choices or number of grams. You can look at 3 to 4 choices of different carbohydrates. As we mentioned, it could be an apple is one choice, a milk is one choice, or starchy food is one choice. 3 to 4 choices would equal, with each choice being about 15 grams of carbohydrates, would be about 45 to 60 grams of carbohydrates per meal. And again, we want you to eat 3 meals a day and 1 to 2 snacks. You can also use the MyPlate method. The diabetic MyPlate is slightly different, just for the fact that normally your plate includes half of it being fruits and veggies. Well, in the diabetes plate, we want half of the plate to be non-starchy vegetables, which are our low carbohydrates. Then, for a fourth of it, that can be your grains or your starchy vegetables. But when you're eating grains, we want you to choose 100% whole grains to get the most bang for the buck, to get the fiber from those foods. We want you to eat and drink foods that are high in sugar very rarely, and make sure that your proteins are lean proteins. So, how many slides? The purpose of this slide is to briefly show the ease of using the MyPlate for portion control. It'll also show how to count carb choices and grams of carbs. So we have the glass of red wine, which is actually 0 carbs because alcohol acts like a fat and not a carb. Calories from alcohol are changed to fat and stored as triglycerides. Alcohol can actually cause your blood sugar to lower. Alcohol prevents the liver from making glucose, which is sugar. The American Diabetic Association recommends only 1 serving of alcohol per day for women. But when you're looking at the rest of this plate, we want to make sure that you understand about the other sides of things. So looking at the 3 meatballs, that is protein. It's pure protein. So the meat is not counted as a carbohydrate. Your tossed salad greens is not a carbohydrate, along with your 2 teaspoons of salad dressing. So your carbs are coming from the pasta with tomato sauce, because the sauce and the pasta itself are each kind of a serving there of carbohydrates for a total of 30 grams. And then your dinner roll, which is 15 grams. So with this meal meets the MyPlate for carbohydrates, the 45 grams of carbohydrates, or in this case, 3 choices of a carb, for a total of 45 grams or 3 choices. So, mentioned earlier, we talked about simple versus complex carbohydrates. We like to refer to these as the good versus the bad because not all carbohydrates are created equal. We want you to choose the right kind. So, looking at the good carbohydrates, those are the ones that are more complex. They're higher in fiber, they boost your metabolism, and they help you feel full longer. So, do not try these low carb keto diets because, again, carbohydrates are supposed to be half of your energy source. So, if you're not getting carbs, you feel lethargic, you feel worn down, you feel dehydrated, you feel like you have the flu, which is why one of the side effects of the keto diet is the keto flu. So some food examples of good complex carbohydrates are our whole grains, whole grain bread, brown rice, quinoa, beans, nuts, seeds, oatmeal, fruits, sweet potatoes, and vegetables. Our bad or simple carbohydrates are the juices and the sugars and the cookies, candies, and chips. So portion size is important. I'm not going to say that you cannot have anything on the bad side of the carbohydrate list, but looking at portion size, looking at the amount of fiber that you're getting from some of the good carbohydrates. This will help reduce your cholesterol levels. Nuts are also a good source, along with being a healthy, unsaturated fat. We want you to stay away from those C words, the candies, cookies, chips, cereals that are the simple carbohydrates. So I mentioned portion control. The purpose of this slide is just to kind of help you accurately eyeball your serving sizes using things that you know. So when I tell you that a good size for your protein or your meat for your MyPlate is 3 ounces, that is the size of a deck of cards or the size of the palm of your hand. When I tell you that you need a cup or a cup and a half or even 2 cups of fruits and veggies, that is about your fist is 1 cup. You can look at something that's a third of a cup, and that's about the size of an egg. You can also use a baseball as the size of a cup or a cup and a half or something like that. So these are things that we kind of understand what the size of them are. So when you're reading your labels, when you're reading your serving sizes, paying attention to your portion sizes as well. So what about these foods on this list? Some of these things here, they tend to pose challenges for some of us because fat and protein do not contain carbs, and these are high fat and high carb meals there. So the high fat, high protein, and high carb meal, like your pizzas, they might not affect your blood glucose rate reading 2 hours after eating, but a delayed increase 4 to 6 hours may be seen after eating some foods like pizza or a burger with fries. So again, your protein and your fat do not contain carbs, but they are higher in calories. So eating too much of these foods can cause weight gain, not because they're high carbs, but because they're high fat and high calorie. So there are some benefits to eating carbs. You've probably heard of all the negative things about eating carbs, but here are just some of the benefits. They are fuel for your body. They protect your brain. They give you help you speed up with your mental processing. Provides energy, muscle power. It helps you control your weight. It helps you reduce the risk of heart disease by providing folic acid. Also, it helps with dehydration and constipation because if you're trying some of these low carb diets, then you're low in fiber, and that's causing water loss, which can cause constipation and dehydration, which are just two symptoms that come along with being on the keto diet. They also provide a lot of antioxidants and phytochemicals to battle or prevent or delay heart disease and certain types of cancers. And fruits and veggies contain minerals to lower blood pressure, and fruits and veggies are a lot of different carbs. Low carb can also restrict your source of calcium. And the high protein diets, like the keto diet, causes calcium losses. So carbohydrates are good for your bone health, and they just taste good. So instead of worrying about being on a low carb, very restrictive diet, we want you to focus on the type of carbohydrates, on the amount that you're eating, on that unnecessary snacking of those C words, the chips, the cookies, the cakes, the candies, and looking at them being good energy sources. Because those low carb diets also have negative effects such as headaches, fatigue, mood swings, no energy, um, slowing your metabolism down, and a lot more. So, if there are any questions, you can call me, Jennifer Brown, Family Consumer Science Extension Agent. You can email me at jennifer.brown@ncsu.edu and check us out on our Facebook page at facebook.com/person Granville FCS. Thanks for tuning in.